other command center, so he is going to try to expand here in a little bit. And just a quick note, if you have not seen a whole lot of players do this, gearv0sh is building his command center inside his base, which if you've been playing StarCraft for any amount of time, this is probably something that you've seen before. But for any new players, Terran players, since they can lift their bases off, like to build their initial expansion building within their base, and then you can lift it off and move it off over to your expansion. That way it allows you to build it without putting it in jeopardy or harm's way, but then you can still lift it off and move it to the location that you want it to be at. And it looks like KillerPlague is actually going to be moving out across the map with this decent sized army. He's got a lot of stalkers and zealots here, and one immortal and sentry bringing up the rear of this army, although it looks like there are a lot of marauders on the map right now and a couple of ghosts in the mix here as well. So one or two EMPs would do a lot of damage to this Protoss army, although it looks like one ghost does not have quite enough energy. Yeah, both ghosts do not have enough energy yet to drop an EMP on this Protoss army, so it looks like he is going to have to just see if he can hold off KillerPlague for just a little bit longer in order to get that EMP off and give him the advantage in this battle. But looking at the production overlay, we can see that there is a robotics bay coming in for the Protoss player. KillerPlague is going to be getting Colossi most likely, and he's actually bringing in a phase prism, or sorry, a warp prism as well. But meanwhile, the Terran player continuing to stick with his mostly infantry army, it looks like, although he is getting a reactor for a starport, so we will probably be seeing some medevacs here to support that infantry army. And as you can see, Stimpak researching now as well. The Protoss player, KillerPlague, does have an observer overhead of the Terran player's base. Oh, and one turret just now coming up for gearv0sh, so he is going to be able to keep that observer from getting too much vision on the high ground, which is what he wants to do, because if he can get vision on the high ground, then getting up this ramp is not as crucial, because he can use his ranged units to fire up that cliff since he has vision. But it looks like gearv0sh is moving out, and this may be a mistake, because I don't know if he has enough units to actually take this army on head on, and KillerPlague wisely backing up his army as gearv0sh tried to drop an EMP on him, but luckily he moved his army out of the way just in the nick of time. Oh, and another EMP going down right now, and he takes down the shields for a lot of the Protoss army, although there's still a decent amount of his units that have health. Oh, and a planetary fortress going up at the expansion, which is going to force KillerPlague to back up right now. Planetary fortresses are notoriously difficult to take down, especially with the help of some SCVs repairing. Now, right now, gearv0sh does not have any SCVs repairing this, but he is building some right now, and with the help of this infantry army, that Protoss army would not be able to take down that planetary fortress and all of the infantry army. On the production overlay, you can see here there is one Colossus coming out right now, and the extended thermal lance is being researched, so he will have the extended range for the Colossi when that does come out, which gives it a very long siege distance range. But there are still only 3 gateways, it looks like, on the map for KillerPlague and 1 robotics facility, so he is going to stick with his current production, but he has not expanded yet either, which if he does not do so soon, he could find himself in a bad position against this Terran player, as he has expanded right now and is starting to saturate his mineral lines with a lot of units. And it looks like there are some there are some stalkers in the back of the base, and I'm not sure, did he move his SCVs off of there, or did he actually kill that many SCVs? I must have missed that. But anyways, it looks like he is going to back off here, losing 1 stalker for the sake of keeping that warp prism alive and the additional stalker inside of it. But it looks like there is 1 Colossi out on the map now. If we take a look at the units overlay, we can see actually there's a second one that just came out. And only 1 stalker on the map right now, and 3 sentries and 2 immortals and 16 zealots. So a very zealot heavy army right now, and he does not have charge upgraded yet, which if you're going to use this many zealots, having charge, especially against this very heavy marauder army, would be a very good move for KillerPlague right now, because the concussive shell upgrade for the marauders is not nearly as effective when you have that zealot charge upgrade researched. And it looks like the Terran army is going to try to take this on. Oh, getting off an EMP on this Protoss army, taking down some of the shields of these big Colossi, although the Colossi does have more shields than 100, so it does not lose all of its shields, so not in terrible shape. But 3 Colossi here just do an enormous amount of splash damage to this Terran infantry army, and with how strong that lance attack is, it is not able to they are not able to actually hold off the attack with these medevacs, because the medevacs do not heal quick enough to defend against that thermal lance. But it looks like there are a bunch of infantry units inside these medevacs going to try to hold this position on the high ground and engaging this planetary fortress. gearv0sh is not defending this planetary fortress very well, as his SCVs are still mining rather than helping heal that, and it looks like that planetary fortress is going to go down. There are a lot of Protoss units in the front of the base here, and wow, gearv0sh is going to GG. Looking at the Colossi here real quick, that was really the game changer. 11 kills on this one, 7 on this one, and 5 on this one. So those Colossi really cleaning up a lot of that Terran army. It looks like the first game is going to go to KillerPlague, which, just FYI, he is the last player for the Vile Gaming team. Everybody on Vile Gaming lost in the first round except for KillerPlague, so he is the last hope for Vile Gaming in this exhibition matchup between the two fan sites. So anyways, we're going to move on to game number 2 right now. GG.